The first time I met Victor, he smiled like he had no business doing so, like he wasn't someone's husband. He leaned against the polished black Mercedes outside the high-rise building where I worked, wearing a tailored suit and holding a cup of coffee as if the city didn't move unless he gave it permission. I should have walked past him. I should have ignored the way his voice wrapped around my name like velvet, or how he always looked me in the eyes when he spoke, never distracted, always intent. But I was 25, hungry, and tired of barely being noticed by the men I actually wanted. Victor noticed me like I was the answer to a question he'd been asking for years. "You always in a rush," he said the third time we ran into each other. "You afraid of what might happen if you slow down?" I remember laughing, rolling my eyes, and answering, "I just don't like being late." He handed me a business card. "Then let me buy you dinner. You can be late for that." His number was already saved in my phone before I made it to the elevator. I told myself it was just dinner. I told myself he hadn't said he was married. But I already knew. That kind of self-assured man. There's always someone waiting at home. Victor was married to a woman named Eloise. I learned that about a month after we started sleeping together. I saw a photo of them on his phone when it lit up in the middle of the night. Her name in bold, his face next to hers, both of them smiling like they still believed in forever. "Is that your wife?" I asked. It was around 2 a.m., and I didn't bother softening my voice. He didn't even flinch. "Yes." Just like that. No excuses, no lies. Just truth, served cold and steady. "You weren't going to tell me." "I figured you knew. You don't ask a man who disappears every weekend if he's single." I should have walked away, but I didn't. Instead, I told myself that I wasn't hurting anyone. That what Eloise didn't know couldn't hurt her. That maybe, deep down, Victor loved me more than he ever loved her. He made me feel chosen, special, necessary. We stayed in hotel rooms, in borrowed apartments, in the quiet corners of the city where no one asked questions. I learned how to keep secrets, how to lie to friends, how to erase the guilt from my face like makeup. 2 years passed. Victor said he was going to leave Eloise. "We haven't slept in the same bed in over a year," he said. "She knows it's over. She just doesn't want to admit it." I believed him. I believed him because I needed to. I had invested too much. Time, heart, dignity. My friends stopped asking about him. The few who knew called me selfish. My mother, when she accidentally found out, didn't speak to me for weeks. She said, "No one ever wins when they start as the other woman." But I thought I would be the exception. One afternoon, Victor told me, I put in the divorce papers. I cried, not from joy, but from exhaustion. 6 weeks later, nothing had changed. 8 weeks later, he said he needed more time. 10 weeks later, I found out from a coworker, who knew Eloise through a friend, that they were on vacation in Greece. I thought he filed for divorce, I said to him over the phone. He was silent. That silence said everything. I met Eloise by accident. It wasn't planned. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation. It was a bookstore, of all places. She was flipping through a novel in the relationship section. I saw the name on her card as she pulled it out to pay, Eloise Addington Knight. Victor's last name. My chest tightened. My hands felt too small. I stood frozen for a full minute before I approached her. "You're Eloise," I said. It just fell out of me. She looked up, startled. "Yes. Do I know you?" I'm the woman your husband's been sleeping with for the last 2 years." I have never seen someone's face hold so much shock and serenity at the same time. She didn't scream. She didn't slap me. She simply put the book down and said, "Do you want coffee?" We sat in a cafe across the street. She didn't cry. She didn't crumble. She told me, "I've always known. I just didn't want to know." She said Victor had been cheating for years. That I was just the latest. That she stayed because she didn't know who she was without him. That sentence gutted me, because I didn't know who I was anymore either. After that day, I stopped answering Victor's calls. I changed my number. I moved to a new apartment. I quit the job where he used to wait outside with his perfect smile and false promises. He showed up once. I didn't open the door. He called my name for 10 minutes straight. I sat in the dark and waited for him to leave. When he finally did, I cried for hours, not because I missed him, but because I hated myself. I had built my entire identity around being chosen by a man who never planned to choose me. I was the secret, the side dish, the backup plan. It took time. I started therapy. I started telling the truth to myself. I wasn't in love. I was addicted to the idea of being wanted, of winning, of being the one. But I wasn't. I went months without dating. I focused on work. I wrote in journals. I forgave myself, slowly, painfully. And eventually, I stopped looking over my shoulder, stopped imagining what Victor was doing. One day, I ran into Eloise again. We smiled at each other like war veterans. She said she had finally filed for divorce. I'm not staying broken anymore, she told me. Me neither. 2 years after I left Victor, I met Daniel. He was quiet, kind, and had no idea how to lie. He didn't sweep me off my feet. He grounded me. He made tea when I had cramps, listened when I was anxious, and never made me question my place in his life. I told him everything. About Victor. About Eloise. About how I had been someone I wasn't proud of. He didn't judge me. He just said, "We've all been someone we're not proud of. But look who you are now." One evening, I got a letter in the mail. It was from Victor. No return address. Just a plain white envelope with my name written in his unmistakable handwriting. Inside, a note. "I never chose you because I never chose myself. I hope you found the peace I never could give you." I burned it. Not out of anger. Out of necessity. Because I was no longer that girl waiting in hotel rooms, wearing borrowed perfume and guilt. I was no longer the side chick. I was no longer anyone's secret. I was my own woman. Whole, visible, loved, and that was more than enough. The end.